And to lead this panel discussion is architect Sali Ardi Sarkom and also architect Erdayu Ashara Omar. Datuk architect interior designer Azman Makshim will be one of the panelists. Architect Chan Song An, architect Dexter Koh, interior designer Nur Shafina Ibrahim, architect Jeffrey Chia from Dato' Architect Haji Hajida Abdul Majid, Dato' Architect Tan Pei Ing, Dr. Architect Tan Lokman, Associate Professor Industry Architect Zuraina Laili Awaluddin, Ms. Nazaitul Bahia Muhammad Yusof, Architect Wan Sofia Wan Isha, Architect Adora Rubaini Shariman, Cik Naizatul Bahia Muhammad Yusof from LHDN, Mr. Adam Ng Wee Tet.
Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to everyone. Please give a round of applause to our panelists.
We have with us here a mix of past and LAM medalists, president medalists, as well as representatives from the younger generation, from all the way from the other side of the country. And we have our leaders from the associations as well. We have representing PAM, we have architect Dexter Koh, representing the president of PAM, who is not here. We have interior designer Nur Shafina, who is the president for MIID. We have architect Jeffrey, who is the president of the Association of Consulting Architects Malaysia, ACAM. We also have all our speakers, and this morning we have covered a venerable wealth of topics. So maybe we would like to call upon those who have not spoken this morning to give a bit of an overview, maybe 2 or 3 minutes on the various topics that we have spoken. Perhaps we would start with the youngest, Architect Adora, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Architect Sarli. First of all, I would like to thank Architect Sarli for inviting me all the way from Kota Kinabalu. Honestly,
not me, lembaga.
And lembaga, okay, with lembaga as well. Honestly, it's my first time being a panelist because all this while I've always been a moderator. So I will try my best to answer, respond to your question. Or
any comments on the previous topics?
Yeah, exactly. So I will be focusing a little bit more on the stakeholder fee. Okay. First of all, I would like to pay tribute to the task force of whoever that made this entire journey successful. Okay, when it comes to fees, as we all know, it is the very big issue. Okay, and finally we have come to one step ahead. I think it's the beginning. Okay, at least it's a start for to actually improve our profession. And looking at the what's interesting, what Dr. Tan has mentioned about. Because at the moment it's only focusing on housing, isn't it? And but what he mentioned is about conflict of interest. Okay, first of all, of course, it does solve the problem of undercutting fees among us. But secondly is the conflict of interest. Okay, when it comes to conflict of interest, it's due to the concern by the public, isn't it? Due concern of the public, where our position, who's supposed to protect the interest of the public, okay? And in this sense that it pushed this governance, the government sector, and also the LAM to protect, okay? Together to protect the conflict of the public, the interest of the public, okay? So we are here, okay? We are here in the position of an architect. Why is it only applicable for housing development? Because as a developer, if you can see the relationship, the developer and you as an architect, and also the public is our client, okay? The user, right? So to maintain that the conflict, to maintain the interest of the public, it should be not just applied for housing development, it should be applied for all developments that also involve in this kind of relationship. Because, for instance, our problem of conflict of interest in design and build projects, right? We are always stuck in the middle. Okay, the paymaster is the developer. The contractor. Okay, in this case, and due to that, and we cannot compromise our integrity, isn't it?
So
we cannot.
what you're saying is that the LAM boss system will help reduce this position of conflict, and you would like to extend it into
To other projects.
Other projects. Yes.
Yeah, we can use it as to justify, not just for the housing development, but also
Right.
for other projects.
Right. I think
Yeah.
that is the way forward. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's everyone's ambition, I would say, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Thank you, Adora.
Yeah.
We also have with us from LHDN. You heard the representation just now by Adam, but LHDN has chosen a special person to answer questions, which is Puan Naizatul Bahiyah, the Tax Executive Officer in the Tax Operational Department, Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negeri. Yeah, you want to say something, Puan?
Okay. Thank you to Tuan. And today I would like to thank LAM for inviting IRBM for your events today.
Yeah, these are all good taxpayers.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you everyone for being a good taxpayer. And thank you also for giving us an opportunity to share regarding the implementation of e-invoice and the latest updates of invoice implementation with all of you here. So I heard in the morning that here we have like a professional architects and also like a postgraduates joining the events today. So I hope that this platform will be a useful platform for all of you to learn more about invoice implementation, and that you have a brief, or even not in a depth knowledge of invoicing, at least you have a brief or idea or information and how to kickstart the invoice journey. So if you have any questions, you can post your questions in the Slido. So I will try my best to answer your questions if you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Puan. I'm sure they will ask you the appropriate questions. Next, we have our eminent members of the board and also LAM President's winner, Architect Datuk Tan Pei Eng.
Actually, quite a number of people asked me why I didn't present the paper on illegal practice.
Yes,
which
maybe you
was
can
originally. I thought you were going to explain. No, when we were looking at the program, we understand the importance of presenting the stakeholders fund, because this is something that is very important. So, and the time allocated was only half an hour. And we have decided illegal practice, actually, it is more important for us to actually present it to the public. Although some of our members are also practicing illegal practice in the sense that when you are registered as an architect, if you do not have an ACP, you're not supposed to offer architecture consultancy practices. But the main target audience should be with the public. So we have decided to probably to actually organize another sessions involving the graduate architects and also some of our members, but most importantly, the public. But I would like to respond to the issue that you raised with regards to the implementation of the stakeholder system for all the projects. In fact, it has always been the board's intention to actually implement it. But currently, we are constrained by our current act, where we don't have the power to compel the implementation of stakeholders for all the project. That's why if you look at the regulation, it's all. And it has got to be as requested. But we managed to convince and work with KPKT to compel for the implementation to be implemented for housing project for the time being. For your information, we have actually amended the act, but currently it's with the AG Chamber to allow board to impose this as a compulsory requirement. So, but this will take some time. So hopefully with all your support, we can make it work for the housing project. Then when the act is amended, then the board will definitely extend this to all the other projects. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Datuk Tan Pei Eng. Beside him, needs no introduction, our very dashing Datuk Hajida, also a LAM past president's, President's Medalist winner. Yes.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good afternoon. Let me just react to what I've heard all morning. The first thing I have to register is the fact that I think LAM has gone a long way since the time I knew LAM. And I've been involved in LAM from the 70s, to be exact, 73. So it's more than 50 years of being involved in PAM and LAM, as well as PAM. And that I've seen how both organizations have developed in the national interest of nation building. And I think there were only a few hundred of us in the 70s. And we had to identify ourselves and bring ourselves forward towards the development of the nation. Because the priority then was to just develop the nation with the existing resources then, which was below par, meaning that we do not have enough architects. So I have been involved for all this period, one way or another, especially in both instances of practice as well as professional development, and in particular in education. So with that vast timeline as well as experience that I've had, I must declare and record that today I am indeed very impressed with what was presented, especially by the four people in particular. Of course, Dr. Tan Lokman, who has been harassed by most of us with regard to this issue of stakeholding, because stakeholding has been a key problem among practitioners because of the dilemma of architects practicing below the minimum scale of fees. You know, that has been a perennial problem and became very private. And then, lo and behold, today we have e-invoicing. You know, like it or not, you have to declare how much your clients are paying you now. Can you see the difference? Because in the past, you just pay what you earn. But today, with e-invoicing and the existence of a minimum scale of professional fees, it's very easy to correlate the expected salaries or the fees that architects should be earning. And this has, like I said, has been a perennial problem in the sense that everybody just minded their own business and survived right through. So then with regard to the scale of fees, there was a time when the scale of fees is mandatory, actually, to all of us. All registered architects are not only morally, but legally obliged to use the scale of fees as the basis of their appointment. Of course, some creative clients have devised, and some creative architects have devised ways and means of justifying the fee because of reduced scopes of work and things like that. But notwithstanding that, there are other increases of scope of work that some architects have been imposed after they've been appointed. So these are, like I said, perennial problems, and everything in the past have been kept to the respective offices. And today, with the IT and the digital technology that we have today, we are going to get more efficient, and hopefully there will be a greater respect for that scale of fees that we have today. Because until we amend it, it is still mandatory to utilize that scale of fees. So what Dr. Tan Lokman has highlighted just now, it was not a smooth transition to get to where we are today. And then with the help of PwC, and then we have now established a system in which we could get our fees paid, properly. And I have seen documents. Some of the practitioners have suggested to me to please disclose what you know. For example, I've seen a circular to all ministries. I think it was about 2008 or 2018, when there was a circular that went out to all ministries to instruct them to pay consultants based on their scale fees. Right. Architect and QS in particular, that particular document. So, and why would we not doing so from the position of the stakeholders, i.e. the government, as well as us, the practitioners? And very often, I get these complaints. I'm like a complaint bureau, a one-man complaint bureau, where fellow architects will come and discuss with me about their own dilemma and hardship, because clients, reputable organizations, corporations, GLCs, are depressing their fees and telling them that nobody gets the scale fees with us. So sometimes I challenge them. I say, okay, in that case, I won't be able to get any jobs from you. But that's the price you pay.
I think, thank you, Dato'.
Yeah.
Very, very astute observation, because when I look at the Slido, a lot of the questions are about that. Okay. So we have a more opportunity later to explore that. And thank you for making time today, because as being the eldest, I think, among the panel of, you're 79 this year, right?
80.
80, oh. That alone is an achievement. So next in line, maybe you introduce Dexter?
Okay, next, let's have from Tuban Architect Malaysia, PEM Deputy President, Architect Dexter Koh. Is your mic okay?
Hello?
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I always have to remember that I'm wearing whether today I'm wearing the PEM hat or the LAM hat.
LAM hat today.
Today, PEM hat.
Yes.
PEM hat, yeah. So I got to make sure when I address is on representing the institute. I must say that that there's been a lot of collaboration between the institute and Lembaga on many matters, and I really appreciate that Lembaga has given a lot of support to PEM on a lot of matters regarding practice and the predicaments that we face by practitioners. As a board which is well, in a way taking care of the profession, and as the institute also doing a similar role. I think there's a lot of synergy there, and we hope to have that continuity, in the future as well. Yeah, I think further to that, even things I was spoken to Siong An just now. We also want to get the practice note out for the CDM. I think it's a very important document that I hope when it's because I'm also the co-chair for the working group for practice notes in PEM. So we want to get it out as soon as possible so that you can show to your clients, this is not a scope of work that's part of what we should be doing, but it's a supplementary scope of work. So if you want to get us to do it, then pay us as you should be, lah. Okay. So so anyway, I think I'll end it there. We'll take in questions later. Thank you.
Thank you, Dexter. Okay, next, can we hear from interior designer Nur Shafina Ibrahim, President of the Malaysian Institute of Interior Designers, MIID.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, everyone. I probably wanted to raise something that is a pressing issue from MID that will relate to what Architect Wan Sophia presented and probably Datuk Tan Pei Ing's areas of expertise. So the pressing issue that MID is trying hard to address is how to get more practitioners to register as interior designer. My question would be, how can MID and LAM work together in a concerted effort to achieve this? We know that to regulate and making an impact to the industry.
You want to answer that question or you're asking?
It is a. I cannot be answering the question myself. So, but probably this is a panel discussion, kan? So I thought that it would be a good.
Starting off.
Yeah. Okay. So to regulate and make an impact to the industry, we must have people to regulate, lah, kan? So at the moment, if we look at the numbers of registered ID with LAM, is only 657. Okay, so which already include, I think, quite a lot of architects who make an effort to register as an interior designer as well. And there's only about 67 ID practice registered. So, and I wanted to look at specifically to those who has been establishing the practice before 2015 amendment to the Act, where there is where we include the ID practice dalam the amendment. So I think these are the most critical group to be somehow addressed and make them registered, because they have been practicing and they are practicing out there. So after those who graduated or after 2015, I think they are in the system. So there is a matter of time where they can progress from graduates to license. So that will be the pertaining issue on my side, coming from MID. And I think understanding, especially those who has been establishing their practice before 2015 amendments, those are, of course, those are the veterans who, probably now in their late 50s or in the early 60s, where they felt that, retirement just around the corner, but then the practice is still one of the leading practice. So it's critical that the practice is being registered. And then the second is, prior to the legislative, a lot of practice owner is a diploma holder. So to get into the system is a lot of cumbersome. So there is something that probably MID would want to work with LAM on how to do this. And also, I think we discussed this during the workshop on Wan Sophia about probably having a tiered licensure system might be more relevant or might be viable, because a lot of interior designer do small projects like residential or probably small office that doesn't involve much of public safety. I would suppose to probably, we might be able to come up with a different kind of a tier system so that we can allow them into the system and somehow regulate them as well. Okay, so that's basically what I'm trying to address. I would like to address through this.
Thank you, Fina. And maybe it's opportune that we have Architect Dexter with us today, as she is in Lembaga, the chair of the ID committee. Maybe that will help.
Okay, thank you, Puan. You really emphasize important issue of the profession of interior designers. Perhaps we can hear from Architect Jeffrey Chia, President of Association of Consulting Architects Malaysia. Well, probably, sir, you can share your views on this.
Hello, testing, sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. I think the LAM boss system is a very interesting system to be implemented for LAM and for the profession. As mentioned, it is not a silver bullet that can solve a lot of our practice issues. For the longest time, all of us are grappling with a constraint and lower margin as more and more responsibilities are heaped on us. If you remember some time ago, probably about 8 or 10 years ago, Lembaga had required all practitioners to submit a record of all projects for the year. But after some time, that practice was no longer carried out. So I think LAM boss system will also capture a lot of data that perhaps will be useful to gauge the health of the professional industry. Data, for example, like what is the total revenue billing for professionals per year, average by state, average by firm, average size per project, and so on. All this will be quite useful to gauge the health of the industry and advance the profession to the next level and look at where perhaps needs additional attention, example from the education side or from the Part 3 examination side, how this could be helpful for the practice of the future. Yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. That's a very industry-driven opinion. And of course, Jeffrey also is part of the development team for the stakeholder system. It's actually not just me or Dr. Tan, there's a whole bunch of guys, volunteers who are behind the development. And of course, throughout 20 years, uncountable number of people who have dedicated their time to help this system. With that, I think we've heard roughly their take on the topics.
Perhaps we can take a question from Slido.
Yeah, I think let me explain how we want to be as democratic as possible. So Slido has a system of voting. So if you feel that that question is very relevant to you, please vote it up. So we'll answer those first. We give those questions priority so that we don't let someone monopolize the mic or whatever. So it's we here at LAM very democratic, or we try to be. Maybe they can display the Slido. Because we have also asked you two pertinent questions on the frequency of this town hall, because this is, I think, one of the few times that LAM has a town hall, and I think the current direction LAM is going is we are trying to engage more. So at the end of the day, we have asked the questions, what is the frequency of the town hall that you would like? And also, what are the topics that you would like to be discussed? So in looking at the data, which around 200 over people have replied on this, we can see that the LAM stakeholder is the highest one. But don't worry about this. We just want you to answer. Later on, we'll share in our proceedings. We have two very good repertoires, Dr. Najah and Dr. Atira. Please give them a round of applause. So all our deliberations today, all the questions shall be recorded by them, and the proceedings shall be shared with everybody in due course. This is, as mentioned by our MC and Amza just now, our recording will also be available for everybody later on. Yeah. Maybe switch to the other page. So the current most popular question is, will LAM take action on architects who declare fees below scale of minimum fees in LAM BOS? This question is asked by Muhammad Fazila, Datuk Fazila. Yeah. So perhaps this is a question best suited for our Dr. Tan to answer.
Testing. Testing. Hello. Yeah.
Oh.
I think the best way that I find to answer this is that people always ask the board and the whole struggle with the scale of minimum fees. The law is already there, the act is there, the scale of minimum fees, the rules are there. The board is there to make sure that all the rules and acts are followed. So we have given you the rules and the power to do the right thing, okay? And what always comes back to us is, why do we not do the right thing? Okay, it's not to say that you've been given all the powers and the blessing to go and practice, got your part 3, even your part 3 exam also you answer correctly, you follow the scale of minimum fees. In your exam, oral exam, you also declare to us you follow the scale of minimum fees. But the moment you got your part 3, it's as though you forgot all these things. So why I say that in the background is that, number one, the stakeholder thing, we do not know the scale and cost of your project, okay? And that's why we couldn't do it as a full deposition of fees. Now, as against the surveyor one, where straight away they know one strata title is how much, one accessory parcel, one final title is how much, they know how much the total cost is. So that one is deposited before the project starts. You and I know when we submit a fee proposal to our client, quite often they ask us to change it to a lump sum. And the way the guy uses sorry for my colloquialism, the way the client always say the construction cost is so cheap, you think you're in some third world country. They always tell you this is our fee, our construction cost. Well, you work it out, no way that's the construction cost. But who are you to, you haven't even designed the building yet. The building is in your mind. So the guy's mind might be thinking of a shack, He might be thinking about just a slum house. In your mind, you're thinking of a palace. So it's very hard there's no design even out yet. So the difference was that in the surveyor one, all the fee is stated. You take this, you take this, you take this is the total cost. But for the architect's fee, it could be a condo. Now in a downturn, the condo changed to landed, the landed changed to condo. It keeps changing. So there's no way we could have determined what the construction cost was, neither can we determine the fee. So the whole role of the stakeholder and the power given to the stakeholder is only to administer what you have agreed with your client. It doesn't do more than that, okay? Now, I'm not saying that in the future we will not do more. I believe that once e-invoicing, I'm so glad LHDN is here, everyone's best friend. The only certainties in life is taxes and death. So you gotta be good friends with them. I think when e-invoicing comes in, and I just want to pose this question to LHDN, maybe you don't have to answer immediately because, you might find some unusual things. The developers, especially GLCs, they pay minimum wage now to laborers. Bangladeshi worker come in here, gets minimum wage. Everyone gets minimum wage. Architects got minimum scale of fees, get lower than minimum scale. I think there's something wrong. And not do immediately, but I think the person who is breaking the law are our clients. Okay, they force it upon us, and I think the certainty of tax is that you must go after them. I got clients who are glove operators. They are so scared of underpaying a single laborer. they are so concerned about the labor welfare and the accommodation they live in. They are so afraid because they want to comply to international standards. Otherwise, they cannot sell their product overseas. Our clients, they seem to flaunt it. And I think the flaunting comes from them. It cannot be from the architect because, like I said, in our mind, we think that it's a super luxury building. In the junior guy who's a marketing guy or project development guy, he has no idea of cost. And he puts down there, 100 million. Whereas in your mind, you know it cannot be 100 million. But how to argue with him? So I think somewhere along the line, we need to come back to the final accounts, and we should be properly paid fair fees for service. Now, coming back to the question, stakeholder, the only power you gave to LAM boss system is, this was my agreed fee. This was my agreed schedule of payment. And your duty is that if it changes, if the scope of work changes, from condo become landed, you have to renew, you have to update us. Because the LAM boss system will never know. It only implements what you have agreed to. So it comes back to a question. Why do you agree to it? Now, I know it's a very tough question to answer. And I cite you some examples why sometimes it's very hard. You already started a job, and then in the end, the developer says, oh, sorry, I now need to call 3 quotations. And then they said that, oh, Doc, you've done so much work already. You did all the schematics. And this is the lowest fee. We cannot recommend you unless you match it. And I said, wow, you're worse than a karaoke girl. And that's how it happens. And the other way that happens is the QS, when he prepares the feasibility study, he puts the whole consultant team fees at 5%, 6%, goes to the GLC board, the board approves it already, and then they come back to you and tell you, Doc, among 7 of your 6 consultants or 5 consultants, you have to come within that 5-6%. I say, you are also a consultant. Why you put so stupid figure there? You should do it, if you follow the scale, it should be 12 or 13%. Then the client will say, we can't go back to the board because the board are so big people from so many different companies. We can't go back to a board. You want it or not? That's what we are faced with. And you don't want also what to do. You're already stuck. You're riding the tiger. So I say, well, let the certainty of death and taxes come after them. And maybe that's the way to solve it.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Tan.
Thank you, Dr. Tan.
Any member of the panel would like to add? Yeah, Dr. Ajida.
I'd like to add to what Dr. Tan has said. I think I refer back to the question. The question poses, what happens after, boss?
LAM boss.
Whether we take action against practitioners who did not comply. I think that's the purpose of that question. I think that's the message in that question. I'm taking that. Perhaps one option that I can offer here is amnesty. Amnesty for those who have committed themselves previously. And from now onwards, from this year onwards, please quote your fees. I have said this time and time again to my friends who talk to me, how do you establish your professional fees? It's the simplest way. Take the minimum scale of fees and show it to the client. It's printed. It's law. You want me to break the law? Because when I break the law, you are breaking the law with me. And I can subsequently say that you forced me to take this reduced fees, for example. So this is why I have said this, and I said it about 2 years ago when we had a graduation event after the COVID. We had a record 300 newly registered architects in one event, where the topic of my speech was marwah, the dignity of an architect. The dignity of an architect. We know we cannot expect others to discipline us. We have to discipline ourselves. And we have that basis by law. And it is our right, legal right to practice as an architect. And the right is within the Architects Act, and subsequent acts talk about the scale fees and ethics. You know, there are other issues in practice that needs to be highlighted today. As I've mentioned to Sally, oh, why do you invite me? You know? He says, it's because you've had all this experience. Okay, if you want me to come, I'll share what I have observed. It may be hard-hitting, but you have to understand, we fail ourselves as a profession. If everyone, because I had an occasion, and I mentioned this last Monday at another meeting at LAM, where my client tells me that, Hajida, if you turn this project down, there'll be 10 other architects who will come to undertake it. So I said, yeah, I'll wait and I'll soon find out who the person is. It doesn't matter. So this is why we have to respect ourselves first. You know, respect yourself. It takes you a long time, a long journey, 5 + 2, and some even 4, 6, 10 years before you get your Part 3 and be registered as an architect to practice. But you're not practicing in accordance to the provision which is provided by law, for example. You know, there's a very small item about ethics. You know, the losing of a job as a first architect, no second architect should take on a job without a letter of release from the first architect. And this has been going on. And we all know that. It's just that because of frustrations and desperation, they say, never mind, we move on. Some. But there are some who stood ground. I can quote you, but I won't be specific. I have informed a client, a GLC, that I will not be able to issue you a letter of release until I have been properly terminated. That's the term in our ethics. And what does that mean? You have to be paid. And he says, you're not a, what's the term? You're not a secured creditor. That's the term the bankers use. So I said, yes, I may not be a secured creditor, but I am a special creditor. So how come you're a special creditor? I got the Architects Act behind me. I am special because no other architect can take on my job until I issue my letters of release. It's as simple as that. And within a week, they came back to me. Can you come back and exchange for a check? And exchange for a letter of release for a check they're going to issue to me. And almost the very next day, the second architect called me to tell me, Haj, thank you for the letter. Now I'm taking on the job. So practice, as Sophie today talked about the subjects, the curriculum that we have to go through to be examined. And having gone through all that, what do we do with ourselves? We turn our back on all these questions and the answers that is supposed to be done. So in reality, we are not practicing what we preach. And this is our dilemma. I can only say dilemma. I don't know how. And this is why, at this point in time, I'm helping out some departments of architecture in a couple of universities to look at how to train and create the condition, the mentality of the students in anticipation of the future. And as pointed out just now, things are moving very fast. And in fact, there is no need. Perhaps there's no need. I won't say there's no need, but perhaps there's no need for architecture school. You know, you can learn with these AIs and all these systems. You could get the answer to your design problems. So this is the kind of future there is for this profession. I don't think I am here to condemn or urge that the profession be diminished. No. I want us to take the lead. And I've always said this time and again, that the architect is always the first in and last out of a project.
Yeah, the first in and the last out. Yeah,
first
thank
in,
you.
last out.
Thank
Why?
you.
First in, because that's the client who asks you for your intellectual ideas. And you produce all these conceptual designs and things like that. And what happens? Gets implemented. When it's all done, after all the hassle, your CCC is issued, and you have a 2-year defects liability period. And at the end of it, you sign off. That's the last time you go out. And that was range from 3, as early as 3 years, or even 10 years or 12 years.
That's the last out bit.
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Dato, for the very inspiring insights. I think I just want to take this one step further. Probably now we've heard from Dato. Probably we can hear also view from the younger ones. Architect Adora, perhaps you can share with us your view on the scale of minimum fees, integrity.
Yeah, I think take away from Dato' Hajidar what he trying to, you know, convince us in what his point of view. Because it's our nature, okay? It's our nature as an architect, we are more empathetic. I think we are so much easy to give in, or maybe we are just so much concentrate or enjoyed on design, you know. What about the business point of view? What about, you know, that sort of getting profits and all that? Or what about the value, you know? So we have to, I think, change our mindset. That's the key point, I think. We have to try to change. In a way, first of all, I think you all also, when you wake up, or probably before you sleep at night, the first thing you would think of is, you know, how do we want to solve this, about this undercutting or discount fees? How do we want to fight? Okay, the spirit of fight. First is to have a one voice. I think that's what I believe. I know it's a bit idealistic, okay, but I guess this is that came in my mind. I mean, if everyone has the one voice, okay, and one united to have the same thinking, in the same page, that there's no fees lower than the scale of minimum fees. And we don't accept any appointment that's lower than the scale of minimum fees. Can we agree on that? Okay, that's first.
You're calling for a unity front for this.
Yeah, I mean, it's very idealistic, but I guess that's the only way. I mean, they don't listen to us if we are all separated, having all people have a different school of thought. But if you have only one voice to say, look, client, we don't agree with these fees. It's against our scale of minimum fees. If everyone says the same, okay, that's first. Second is the law enforcement. Okay. So who is going to be the police here? For instance, we cannot rely on LAM. Okay, LAM is the one who is the they have the disciplinary committee. But who is going to make the complaints? Who is going to make the report? It's ourselves. We are the one. If we know who somebody is undercutting, okay, maybe it's our culture, Malaysian culture, I guess, that we don't report. We don't make report, we don't make complaints. But other countries, the developed countries, they do. That's why they progress. I have to say it here because this is what has been, all of the at the back, this is what they asked me to voice out, so I have to voice out. This is my amanah, I would say. So that's the second thing, okay? And then the third is the leadership, okay? We have to take the leading role, okay? We as an architect, as once you pass your Part 3 exam, I myself passed Part 3 exam, we registered, and you are naturally a leader, okay? So we have to take the lead. You have to advise. Our advice matters, okay? It costs money, okay? It has liability. It has value, all right? So I think these are the things which we really have to change and rethink our mindset and put it in our heart to forget it and to practice it. That's it. Okay, thank you, that's all.
Yeah, thank you, Adora. I think the third most popular question is also, LAM boss, how the system makes sure that the developer pay based on scale of minimum fee. So it's very similar to the first. But I think our president wants to say something because this is a very subject very close to his heart.
Okay, I just want to reiterate here. One of the main purpose to have this town hall, actually I've been planning this for quite some time. Way before I got, what you call it? I've been the president, Board of Architects. Because why? We have to be together. This is one of the, I would say, alarming issue that just now we're talking about minimum scale of minimum fees. Now, I would like to echo what Datuk mentioned, and then just now we did also discuss on the, what shall we do? First of all, one of the words that we have to really, put into ourselves is we have to, what you call it? I think I talked to a friend of mine today, or member. The word is solidarity. We have to be together. And we have to say what Datuk mentioned just now. If we were together, all over Malaysia, every single consultant, architect consultant, or even other consultants as well, if we have one voice to say that, we can tell the client, you have to follow scale of minimum fees. If you were not to follow this, maybe you don't want to appoint me because I want to follow as what being regulated, Datuk. Well, fine, you go look for somebody else. And you cannot find even one in Malaysia because the rest of others also will, will say, yeah, we have to use scale of minimum fees. Now, let's take this advantage. I myself personally, since, of course, as you know, I'm not practicing. But, meaning to say, I have not much interest in practicing. But I have interest to strengthen our architects' fraternity, in the sense to strengthen the scale of minimum fees, whether in government projects or even private projects. What I will do is, if we can be together and we come to one conclusion, we will bring this matter up to the government, of course through our minister, bring to a minister and our KSU together, talk to MOF. Firstly, of course, we want to impose to all government projects for, strictly. No more discount, no more nothing. The tender or whatnot, we don't want. You go strictly on scale of minimum fees. Then only, we sit together and then we streamline the whole thing to other projects as well. So today, actually, one of the main purpose to have it here, I want our team, our board members, the legacy of our board members this term, or even this will spearhead for our future, to say that right after this, we do not need to struggle talking about all this. For me, it's nonsense. Just wasting our time. We should be doing other things. We should be, thinking about how to strengthen, how to, elevate our design to comply with all the requirements and so on, rather than talking about scale of minimum fees. So is it okay? I think we can conclude in a way, because I got quite a lot of this, but I don't want to go through. We know what really happened to other professionals. We know also what happened, how do I say that? The big words. Just now you mentioned about, lembaga can't do anything. Actually, lembaga can't do much. The person that has to do, or even the people that got to do, is you, the architects. You have to say no. You can't say, no, the client, they do not pay you. They don't want to pay you, but you keep on doing the work with the hope one day the client will pay you. Hey, you know already, client don't pay you. You think client at the end of the day, they want to pay you? No lah, no way. So you end up with zero later. But now, say for example, if we were to stop, you stop now. If you don't pay me, I will stop. I put the whole thing on hold. I don't care. If we are brave enough to do that, Sally, are you? So I think, this is way forward, and we will be with that. Yeah. I myself, I can guarantee you guys, everybody today. So I will work my way to strengthen this and make sure government will agree to what we have, what we want now for scale of minimum fees. Thank you.
Okay. The next question will be part 3. Yeah, sure. We can't hear you. The mic, Doc.
Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Now, I was thinking about this. I mean, it's a discussion. I think we are being killed by compliance today. I was thinking back about the rubber glove industry. And I think Chan Siong An shared earlier about CDM. They're trying to shove compliance down our throat on safety and health. I think one of the most fundamental thing about health and safety is that you hire the right professionals in the first place. And we should turn this CDM thing round. We don't need to do it because 100% I never studied it in uni. I don't profess to have the skill. Neither do I want to do it. Neither do I want the responsibility of it because I can't handle it. And I think none of us can, okay? Unless you start school again from year 1 teaching you how to do these things. So coming back to CDM, because I experienced it in one of my projects, they hired this consultant and he pushed everything to the architect because he said, you sign everything. Then I said, this monkey. And I think, the fundamental thing is, there's a checklist he take, got building plan approval, KM. I think we should put there for CDM, CIDB, DOSH to tick off there. Are all the requisite consultants properly hired? Are they being paid proper fees? Because that's what the Bangladesh minimum wage is about. He is not paid below minimum wage because he doesn't need to work 2 jobs and he doesn't have enough sleep. He comes and his hand gets chopped off because he doesn't have enough rest. We should, if they want to kill us with compliance, force us to take this type of things, which we won't take, number 1. Number 2, we got to make sure they hire all the right professionals and that the professionals are properly paid. Take it off. And it should have is it in accordance, properly employed, appointed, and according to the fair fees or scale of minimum fees? I think that's something that whoever is working on the CDM thing, we should put it in there. That should be number 1. You hire the right people to do the job, make sure all the approvals are in place, tick off all the compliance boxes. Then I think our client will come to us and say, sorry, I think we need to revise this. We got to come on the position of compliance. And I think that will give us a strong position. And I'm so glad Dato, who's in government, has now, I think government not going to ask for discount anymore, right? Thanks very much.
We are working on it.
All right.
Okay, so let's all stand.
Thank you.
We're working on it.
Yeah. Thank you.